Did you know that fear of the dark accounts for roughly 27% of all specific phobias in kids aged 8 to 12? I mean, it is literally the single most common childhood phobia out there.
But here's the wild part. For so many kids, this fear doesn't just blanket the whole house, right? It anchors itself to one place. So why does one specific room, like, say, the basement, become the absolute epicenter for this terrifying childhood fear?
Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're a parent of a 3 to 10-year-old, you probably know the exact exhausted middle-of-the-night frustration we're talking about here. But today, we're going to flip the script. We are shifting from exhausted frustration to empowered empathy. We're adopting a brand new mindset. Don't calm down, conquer.
All right, let's dive right into part 1, the predator-brain connection. To actually conquer the fear, we first got to understand exactly where it comes from. Now, your child's fear isn't a defect. It's what scientists call a cognitive relict. Basically, it's an adaptive default that's deeply, deeply rooted in ancient nocturnal predator vigilance. It's wild to think about, but studies show kids spatially localize the scary thing, like imagining it under the bed or down in the basement, because this trait persists from a time when our ancestors literally had to survive being hunted while they slept. It is, no joke, baked right into our DNA.
Think about it like this. Millions of years ago, early hominins nesting up in the trees had to constantly, and I mean constantly, anticipate leopard attacks coming from below or from the sides if they were sleeping on the ground. Fast forward to today and our modern kids' brains, they're doing the exact same thing. They are localizing and anticipating threats, only now they imagine them as monsters lurking in the dark basement or creeping up the stairs. Their brains are honestly just working exactly as evolution designed them to.
Which brings us to part 2, anatomy of a scary room. So why does the basement become the modern target for these ancient fears? Well, it perfectly fits what we call the fear formula. It compounds 3 basic ingredients. First up, darkness. Historically, this signaled a massive vulnerability to ambush. Second, spatial uncertainty. You just can't see what's around the corner or hiding at the bottom of the stairs. And third, a conditioning event. This could be a genuinely scary moment, or, get this, even just a parent's offhand warning like, hey, don't go down there, it's dark. That simple throwaway warning can actually act as the anchor that permanently ties the fear to that specific room. In fact, research points out that indeterminate agents and parental threats can basically install or drastically amplify a room-specific fear. Now, sure, there isn't a specific scientific literature out there just on basement phobia, but when you apply this really robust evolutionary spatial threat research, it shows us exactly how environmental uncertainty anchors these ancient survival fears right into your own downstairs.
Okay, so what do we do about it? Let's look at part 3, parent-delivered treatment success.
There is a massive amount of scientific hope here, guys. In the Hungarian Uncle Lightfoot study, researchers tested a brief 5-week program on kids ages 3 to 8. The intervention combined graduated exposure and relaxation, and the best part, it was all delivered by the parents themselves at home using play-based bibliotherapy. The results were incredible. They saw a significant reduction in clinical-level phobic symptoms and a major increase in adaptive brave behavior.
And the data reveals a super direct, powerful correlation. Basically, the more time the kids spent playing these exposure and relaxation games with their parents, the more their separation anxiety and maladaptive nighttime behaviors just shrank. Brief, play-based therapy with gradual exposure absolutely works, for sure.
So let's put this into practice tonight. Part 4, your bravery action plan.
How do we take this clinical success right into your own home? Well, here are 3 highly actionable steps. Step 1 is graduated room exposure. This just means taking brief, super manageable visits to the scary room. Don't force it all at once, keep it light. Step 2 is parent co-regulation. You're teaming up. You are doing this together as a joint bravery mission. And step 3 is familiarity and predictability. Establish a light routine. Literally go take a tour together and name what is actually in the room. This completely removes that deep-seated spatial uncertainty.
What you really want to do here is use in vivo exposure games, like play hide and seek with some toys in the dimly lit basement. By turning that scary space into a play space, you are actively overriding that ancient predator brain anxiety. You're replacing the whole fear of the unknown with familiar, safe, and genuinely fun associations. It builds your child's self-efficacy like you wouldn't believe.
Now let's touch briefly on part 5, when to seek help.
While this parent-led approach is incredibly effective, we've got to be realistic. If you've tried these exposure steps and the fear is still severe, if it's persistent and actively limiting your family's daily life, or just totally wrecking everyone's sleep quality, consulting a professional is absolutely the recommended next step. Sometimes specific phobias just need a little extra expert guidance, and there is zero shame in that.
But for the vast majority of you watching this explainer, I really want you to remember our empowering mantra. Don't calm down, conquer. Seriously, your child's fear isn't a weakness. It's a literal biological superpower of vigilance that kept our entire species alive for millions of years, and it is completely within your power to help them master it.
The absolute most effective tool you have in your arsenal is play. There are amazing resources out there, like the Fear Me Not app, which specifically turns scary spaces into conquerable bravery missions through exactly this kind of gamification. So go flip on those lights, team up with your kiddo, and ask yourself, which room are we going to conquer tonight?